there's going to be an upset here. Never mind. He still has a little differential left in it. No, look at it.
40 years ago, Luis Resto and Billy Collins Jr. had one of the most scandalous fights in the history of boxing. Collins, known as Irish, was poised to add another victory to his impressive record. However, his opponent displayed unprecedented cruelty. Resto's devastating blows not only deprived Collins of any chance of winning, but also put his own life at risk. Today, we will revisit this tragic story in which Billy Collins Jr. paid the highest price, his life and a shattered career. We will uncover all the details of this horrific deception and egregious violation that shook the world of sports.
Well, we just called it, Ray.
Left and right by Collins. He's got a wobble. Witt is wobbled. He is in difficulty and has been stopped by Larry.
At the age of 20, Collins Jr. made his debut in the professional boxing ring. The young man showed great promise, defeating the future contender for the championship title, Harold Brazier. Following his victory over Fernando Fernandez, Collins Jr. found himself on the doorstep of a title fight. His record was impeccable: 14 wins, 11 knockouts, and no losses. The Irish youth was poised for big fights, fame, and success. The only obstacle remaining was the Puerto Rican brawler's Luis Resto. The main secret behind the audience's interest in this fight lies in the opportunity to witness a clash between a good guy and a bad guy in the ring. After all, controversy always grabs attention. Billy was the good guy in this story. For his final test before the championship fight, he was paired with a troublemaker, a drunkard, and a man with an unstable psyche, Luis Resto.
Louis Resto was a fighter who was just rough and tough. On any night, Louis could give anybody in that division a fight.
I saw him as a journeyman, as a tough guy that you prove yourself against to get that shot.
Luis was born in Puerto Rico. When he was 9 years old, his family moved to New York in search of a better life. The future boxer's mother was a drug addict, and this had a significant impact on the child's mental well-being. Resto was an unruly teenager, even assaulting his math teacher during a school lesson. The teacher narrowly escaped with his life. As a consequence, Luis was sent to a rehabilitation center for children with developmental disorders. His uncle, wanting to channel his nephew's energy in a more peaceful direction, introduced him to the sport of boxing. If the man had known how much trouble this would cause to many people later on, he would never have made that decision. Luis turned out to be a talented fighter. He won the Golden Gloves tournament in New York twice, earned a gold medal in the National Youth Championship, and was part of the U.S. national team. Resto's financial struggles pushed him toward the professional ring. He needed money. While in the U.S. national team, he met a coach named Carlos Panama Lewis. Under Lewis's guidance, Luis turned pro. After a series of victories, driven by the pursuit of big money, Panama matched his fighter against tough opponents. Bruce Curry and Luis Primera knocked out Resto. His dreams of championship glory and lucrative purses remained just dreams. Luis started abusing alcohol and experienced a mix of wins and losses. His career was heading toward the inevitable decline of an unsuccessful boxer. In late 1982 and early 1983, Resto unexpectedly defeated Robert Sawyer and Sammy Horn. Both times, Luis was considered the underdog but appeared flawless in the ring. His punches devastated his opponents, something that hadn't been seen in his previous performances. On June 16, 1983, he stepped into the ring to test a young prospect, Billy Collins Jr. Once again, Resto was considered the underdog. And once again, his opponent was defeated. But all the most intriguing and tragic events unfolded after the fight. Madison Square Garden Arena gathered over 25,000 spectators, the majority of whom came to witness another victory for Billy. At first, everything seemed to be going according to plan. The Irishman moved well and delivered impressive combinations.
Billy. Oh, right hand. Yes. You can tell by looking at their bodies. There's no fat hanging from their body.
However, with each new punch absorbed from Resto, it was as if all of Billy's strength was being drained away.
They're missing. They're not. You got the idea. You're right on the ball, Vic.
Even amateurs could recognize the power behind Luis's blows. He hit so hard that Collins's face turned into a swollen mess.
That's a good left hook.
Billy remained aggressive, but his opponent's strikes made him cautious. It seemed as though Collins was not facing just one opponent, but an entire dozen of Luis Restos. The impact of the Puerto Rican's punches was horrifying.
That's the right formula. That's the only way. That's the only way. He still has a little defense left in it. No, you look at it.
He made it through all 10 rounds, but by the end of the fight, his face was a sight to behold, one eye almost completely closed, blood mixing with sweat, streaming down his face. The match concluded with Resto winning by unanimous decision. On the surface, nothing extraordinary had happened. An experienced guy, Luis, had beaten an inexperienced prospect, Billy. Such things happen quite often. However, Billy Collins Sr. sensed that something was amiss. When the Puerto Rican approached the corner of the defeated opponent, Collins Sr. grabbed the right glove of his son's opponent and did not find a protective pad there. Luis Resto beat Billy, in fact, with his bare fists. Billy Sr. was furious. He invited the referee of the fight. Supervisors and officials entered the ring.
They didn't want to take him off. They wanted to go out and says, no, take him off. Take him off the glove. I want to see those gloves. I got a complaint here. I want to see those gloves. When I saw the gloves and I handed it to it, I knew there was something wrong with the gloves. There's something missing. Absolutely.
Panama Lewis expressed his disagreement with the charges and showed a lack of understanding of the situation. Lewis's reaction gave him away. He began to twitch and glanced nervously at the coach, with whom, minutes later, they would try to sneak away from everyone. It didn't work out.
The decision was unanimous in favor of Luis Resto, but shortly after the fight, Collins' handlers charged that Resto's gloves had been tampered with, that some of the required padding had been secretly and illegally removed, adding extra impact to Resto's punches. The New York State Athletic Commission apparently was suspicious, and they impounded Luis Resto's gloves.
The New York State Boxing Commission conducted an independent investigation. Experts concluded that Panama Lewis intentionally removed a piece of protective padding from the glove of his fighter, Luis Resto, resulting in significantly harder punches from the Puerto Rican athlete. Holes were found in both gloves through which the protective padding had been removed. The result of the fight was changed to no contest. Lewis and Resto were permanently banned from boxing. However, this fact couldn't restore Billy Collins Jr.'s health.
It seemed like every time it hit me, I could feel knots come on my head, and my eyes already started to swell about the fourth, fifth round, and I just couldn't figure it out, and he made some good body shots, and I'd never been hit like that before in my life.
After the fight, he remained in a terrible condition.
The next day, when he got off the plane, his father was leading him. He was blind.
He had some sunglasses on, and he literally had to raise the skin around his eyes to take the sunglasses off.
It was like a horror picture, and I guess I looked away or something, and I remember the first thing he said, "I'm your husband, look at me."
The 21-year-old boxer was diagnosed with retinal detachment, resulting in a 70% loss of vision. Collins could no longer compete in the ring. He became disabled, and then family problems, constant job changes, financial debts, alcohol issues, mood swings, frequent fainting, and mental disorders. On March 6, 1984, less than a year after the fateful fight against Resto, Billy Collins Jr. took his own life. The athlete's car crashed at high speed into a drainage pipe near his home in Antioch, Tennessee. The boxer passed away before the arrival of the ambulance. He was 22 years old. After 3 years of legal proceedings, Luis Resto and his trainer, Panama Lewis, found themselves behind bars, charged with conspiracy, gross violation of boxing rules, and intentional infliction of serious injury to health and life. Lewis was sentenced to 6 years of imprisonment, of which he served 4 years, while Resto received a 3-year sentence and served 2.5 years. Both denied their involvement in the committed offense. Resto was released from prison and worked as a trainer for a long time, teaching young amateur boxers. In 2007, 24 years after his fight against Collins, he publicly apologized to the boxer's spouse and revealed some of the hidden truths. Luis confessed that Panama Lewis intentionally engaged in such manipulations with boxing gloves. It happened not only in the fight against Billy but also in other bouts. Furthermore, the Puerto Rican boxer revealed to the media that his mentor had created a plaster-like padding using gauze tape, significantly enhancing the impact and force of his punches inside the glove. Resto admitted that Panama, during the breaks between rounds, would give him some kind of drink that provided strength and energy. Lewis denied all the statements made by his former student. The story of the fight between Billy Collins and Luis Resto is a vivid example of how the desire for fame outweighed human life.
1983 was the best year of your life,
No.
but also the worst year of your life.
No. That was the best year and the worst night. Go.